I assure you this is going to be a very entertaining and thoughtful session. And possibly one of the most awaited sessions of today. And this is a pivotal day, a big milestone for CNBC TV 18. We complete 25 years of our journey, and it means a lot to us to have all of you in the audience today. More than 700. This hall is absolutely full, so thank you so much for joining us. The session today and what we're discussing is something that many companies, many leaders are thinking today. Longevity, legacy, leadership, the playbook for the future. And who better to talk about this than two of the most watched, admired leaders in the Indian industry. We have the chairman of Wipro, Rishad Premji, and the managing director of Bajaj Auto, Rajiv Bajaj. Thank you very much, Rajiv and Rishad, for joining us.
Thank you.
Rajiv, both these brands have been around for more than 80 years. It's not easy to sustain. You've grown, you've evolved, Rishad. What's Bajaj Auto? What's Bajaj Auto's mantra to keep going all these years? And how do you think the brand has evolved? What's been the playbook?
Thank you, Parikshit. So first of all, congratulations on 25 years. It's amazing that as a business channel, you have like 90% share or something?
95, more than 95.
95%. So I think we should be asking the questions and you should be answering them. Having said that, if I have to answer your question in one word, the word would be adapt. You know, Charles Darwin said that in terms of the evolution of the species, that it's not the most intelligent or the strongest of the species that survives. It's the one that is most adaptive to change. So I think it's the same in business. To succeed is difficult, but to succeed over and over again, that's the sign of not just a winner, but a champion, such as Wipro, for example. In our own case, you know, we've existed for a little more than 75 years. For the first 40 years, we were effectively a scooter maker for India. And I think we've been through 3 transitions reasonably successfully. The first was from being a scooter-centric company to becoming a motorcycle-centric company with the launch of our own motorcycle in 2001, the Pulsar. Then from being a domestic company to becoming a global company. Till 2002, we exported nothing. In recent years, we've been exporting almost half of what we make. We are now the 3rd largest motorcycle maker in the world, the largest 3-wheeler maker in the world. And since January last year, the most valuable 2- and 3-wheeler maker in the world. And finally, the transition now to electric vehicles. So I think, and you know, for better or worse, it's the same team. I've been there, my team has been there throughout for the last 34 years. So when the same team can make 3 successful transitions by adapting to changes outside, you know, I think that's a sign of good leadership, good legacy, good longevity.
Great point to start on. Rishad, when we speak about Wipro, more than 80 years ago, it was a company that was first into the edible oil business. You've evolved, and how? And the company has given back so much to society. In 2019, Azim Premji gave a $7.9 billion stake to Azim Premji Foundation, and this was a way of giving back to the industry, to the country, to society. So that was great news. But I would like to ask you, what's kept the company going for the last 80 years? Key factors that have contributed to Wipro's longevity.
You know, Parikshit, a lot of luck, right? And I say that lightly, but I mean that seriously. I think luck plays a huge role. You know, there are lots of very smart companies, smart people, and you've got to be lucky in life. So I think that's an important component that you shouldn't underestimate, that allows companies to survive and thrive, and to survive and thrive to a lot of change, right? But if I was to reflect, and I don't think these things were planned, but I think these things have really helped the company stay alive and stay agile and adapt, to Rajiv's point. One, I would say, we really defined who we stood for and our values very early on. We didn't define them, you know, intentionally for the first 25, 30 years, but 54 years ago in 1970, we did. And I think making sure that you never compromise on that, making sure that that becomes your guiding light, making sure that you attract people who deeply and truly align to what you stand for, I think is incredibly important, right? I really deeply believe that culture matters infinitely more than strategy, and that can really help make or break a company. The second thing I would say is, we were entrepreneurial. We encouraged people to take on big roles young. We were risk-taking. We were not afraid to fail. And we took lots and lots of chances, some of them that worked out, some of them that failed miserably. We got into the finance business in 1996, which was a major disaster. But we weren't afraid to try things, right? And the third thing I would say is a part of that entrepreneurial sort of spirit, we empowered people. And there was great autonomy. So I was joking earlier, right, that, I'm the exec chair of the company. I can get my computer fixed faster than most people. But if I have to convince our CEO to do something that he doesn't want to do, it's going to be a very, very tough job for me, and I can't just dictate that. So there's great empowerment and great autonomy that comes with that empowerment. I think that's really helped the company as well.
Rishad, I was watching an old interview or broadcast where you were speaking, and you said that, I was trying to figure out when you're trying to hire somebody, what should you look for? Should you look for commonality? Should you think whether you can have a drink with that person? And you were advised none of that. Don't look for commonality. Yeah. What would be your advice?
No, I was talking to one of my board members and I was saying this. I was like, when I'm looking for someone, do I like this person? Can I have a drink with in the evening with this person? Can I have a cup of coffee with? And he said, that's the completely wrong way to look for people. You should look for people who are very different than you. They challenge you. They make you uncomfortable at times. But they're highly functional. And that comes from diversity of experiences, right? That comes from diversity of industries you've worked in, roles you've played, gender, ethnicity, sexuality, your life experiences. It just comes from being different. And I realized at one point, many years ago, I had someone in my team where every time I had to review him, I was stressed. I was like, he's going to push me, he's going to ask me difficult questions, et cetera, et cetera. But I found that brought out the best in me. So I'm a big believer in trying to find people and keep people in your team that are very different than you. You don't necessarily have to be friends with people you work with either.
But you have to have people who challenge your thought, right? Great to hear that. Rajiv, to get you in, leadership is not easy. It's lonely at the top, and every leader has a moment of reckoning. And when you talk about companies like Wipro and Bajaj Auto, there could be many such moments. So Rajiv, for you, one point that I always think about was perhaps 98, 99, when Bajaj Auto, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know how many of you remember, 1999 was perhaps the first time that Bajaj Auto first posted a loss in their two-wheeler business. How bad was that for you, Rajiv? Was that your moment of reckoning, or was there something else that's been there, hidden in your heart somewhere?
See, first of all, I think it was the financial year 2000 when what had been a very, very successful and profitable company, as you correctly say, lost money on its two-wheeler business for the first time. Fortunately, the three-wheeler business and the spare part business kept us afloat. But before I answer your question, I must make it clear that at that time, it was my father who was in charge of the company, not me. So this problem is not created by me, first of all. But having said that, this was a difficult time. And to put it briefly, if you read the book, The Origin of Brands by Al Ries, you will see a lot of information which effectively conveys this, that it doesn't matter whether you're in software, motorcycles, or any other business, 90 to 95% of all new businesses, new products and services fail. Now that's really quite a lethal statistic. And this is true across the world, across industries. And what Al Ries teaches us is that they fail primarily because most of those products and services were brought out to serve a market and not to create a market, So when you try to serve a market, i.e. to fulfill demand, and that is what most salespeople want to do, you end up being a clone of someone else. As opposed to creating your own market, as opposed to generating demand as against just fulfilling demand. And that is why my marketing guru, Jack Trout, I was very fortunate to know him, taught me that when you say, give your customer what he wants, that's only half the answer. The other half of the answer is give the customer what he wants and what nobody else apparently can or does give him. And that brings us to the whole point about differentiation. The CEO of Coke said, when it comes to real estate, it's about location, location, and location. When it comes to a consumer business, it's about differentiation, differentiation, and differentiation. The problem with differentiation is it is so counterintuitive, to do something that nobody else is apparently doing and hoping that it will succeed. It's a scary thought. So you tend to follow the herd. And to illustrate, I would give you a quick example that Hero Honda brought out the 100cc four-stroke motorcycle in the 80s. Bajaj Auto, remember, it was my father, was 7 years late with the same thing. And we tried to make the better product. The hard lesson you learn is people don't buy better, people buy different. And how do you make different and not better? This is very key to your success.
And that was quite a difficult and tough learning experience, wasn't that for you? Because for a long time in Bajaj Auto's history, you tried to target the 100cc segment where Splendor, ladies and gentlemen, the Splendor motorcycle you see on the streets of India, that was the product that you were challenging, and you felt that was a waste of time.
Actually, it's a great learning, if I may share that experience. So they had a 100cc motorcycle, we had a 100cc motorcycle. Piyush Bhai here was our partner on that journey on behalf of Ogilvy. And we struggled and we got nowhere with that in India because somebody else was first to market. However, two things happened. In the domestic market, we switched track from a 100cc motorcycle to the Pulsar, which was different because it was not a better mileage motorcycle, it was a sports motorcycle. And that really marked the turnaround of the company's fortunes in the domestic market. Whereas the 100cc motorcycle we took overseas to export markets at a time when Honda would not permit Hero to export out of India. And what happened in the end? The same 100cc motorcycle in India, Hero outsold us 5:1. The same 100cc motorcycles in all overseas markets, we outsold them 15:1. It's the same management, same brand, same quality, same cost, everything else being same. The fortunes in the marketplace were completely different, only because depending on who was first to market. So that is why in marketing we say it is better to be first than it is to be better. That is very, very important.